Let's. Okay. Welcome back to the Love Your Diagnosis podcast number 3. And today we have Gael Nash, who has been diagnosed with something that I'll let her tell you about because I cannot pronounce it. And I'll let her do it justice. So welcome, Gael. And basically, in a bit of a nutshell, so happy to have you here. In a nutshell, what was it that you were diagnosed with and how long ago was it that you got diagnosed?
Well, I got diagnosed quite a long time after I experienced the symptoms of what I had. And it is facial neuralgia. And we have cranial nerves coming from the back, of our spine up at the top of the cortex there, coming through. There's 9 of them, and 2 of them are trigeminal, which can, you can assume 3.
Yeah.
They run through, and a lot of people experience trigeminal neuralgia. And it's never been 100% confirmed that I have both trigeminal and glossopharyngeal neuralgia.
That's the one I wasn't going to attempt.
Yes, so. It's a difficult one, but I'm very adept at saying that word now. So in 2014, symptoms presented. I was experiencing very sharp pain underneath my tongue on the left side. And it usually came in the evening. And it went on and on for a while. It actually lasted for a good couple of months every single day. An episode sometimes in the day. This sharp razor-like pain shooting through the base of my tongue.
Okay.
So I lived with that and I thought, this is really odd. I have to go to the doctor. And I didn't, and it went away, which is what it can do. From now I understand.
Well, let me stop you. Well, let me stop you there for just a sec and just go back a bit. What was your life like while you were going through these symptoms of the sharp pain and then them going away? And were you living what you would consider a healthy life?
Yes, I was, and I was only working part-time, but I have had previously in my life a lot of trauma and stress. I don't necessarily need to go into that, but physically it did impact quite severely on me. And I was diagnosed back in 1989 with chronic fatigue and post-traumatic stress. But I had an amazing doctor when I moved up to Byron Bay that I stuck with him, and he worked with me through that. So that's kind of the background of stress on the body that perhaps then this condition resulted from.
I love that you said perhaps, because, all of this is life experience stuff. So I know myself, before we go into like a lot deeper into your story, I work as a cannabis consultant for people, and mostly you see their conditions stem from trauma that has not been processed in their mental and emotional state. And so they are displaying with lots of physical ailments that perhaps, but very, perhaps may have stemmed from this trauma. I mean, scientists are basically doctors are saying, the medical industry are saying now that trauma, they're kind of on the same ballpark game that.
Yeah. Wow.
trauma has an effect on the physical.
Yes.
So that's really good that you've addressed that, because that's really good for the listeners to know
And
that.
I was very aware at the time that I was diagnosed. I actually was dead on arrival at Mona Vale Hospital because I had an ectopic pregnancy and it ruptured, and I bled internally for pretty much 8 hours. So I'm very lucky to be here in whatever condition I'm in. I'm very grateful for that.
Well, so the symptoms, we'll go back to what you were saying. So the symptoms in your tongue, and you didn't do anything about it, and you were just putting it off.
It actually went on and off.
Right.
And I'm a tough nut. and it would, if you can hear, there's my dog here, and she wants my attention, so I'm patting her.
Okay.
So yeah, it went on and off probably through till it was around 2017. How's that?
Yeah. Great.
2014.
4 years. Oh, no, 3 years. 3 years.
I did go to a doctor in that time, my normal GP, and she'd never heard of anything like it. She said, oh, you'll have to go to a neurologist. Oh, okay. And because it would come and go, and in that period of time, I'd Google and I learned more and more about, this thing that was happening to me. And initially I just Googled sharp razor-like pain under the tongue, and as time went by, I got more and more specific in my search engine, and I was coming up with some really interesting stuff around the condition that I had.
So what was the pivotal point for you to go, all right, I got to go and actually see someone?
It just got so severe in 2017 that I did go to another doctor who was a bit more alternate. And my original doctor that I had when I moved into the area, he'd retired, and I could no longer see him. And he was amazing because he was a little bit alternate. And this guy I'd heard, and it was from the Health Lodge. I, tell you his name because I think he's amazing, Dr. Marcus Hewitson. Okay. And he's at the Health Lodge in Byron Bay. And he, really listened to everything I had to say. There's a lot of doctors, they dismiss. And I found my GP that I saw up in the one that I see for all my gynecological is female, and she is just quite, didn't really, have anything to offer me other than I'll send you off to the neurologist, which ultimately, of course, I did. So Dr. Marcus put me on the path of diagnostics, of course, and everything was done, blood tests, MRI, scans, and the visit up to Southport to see the neurologist.
Okay. So did the neurologist get all those tests and then have to make the ultimate diagnosis? Okay.
And yes.
Okay. So then it's handed from the GP to the specialist, and the specialist, you're sitting in the office and he tells you these words that I still can't pronounce.
Well, I thought from my Googling, I've got glossopharyngeal neuralgia, because that seemed to be what would come up all the time when I, put in the symptoms. And he said, oh, I think, it could be a combination of both, either or, so fine. It's, I've got neuralgia. Yes, and it could be both or one or the other.
And when he basically handed that to you, so how did you feel at that moment when you knew that all your searching?
Oh, I knew I had it. Even before, I knew that was what would be the diagnosis because of
from Dr. Google. Yeah.
Dr. Google and my own doctor, who loves, I must say, he loves Dr. Google.
Dr. Google. If it's used in the right way.
Yes, it all depends on what you put in that search engine.
Yeah. So when you came back, okay, so now you've got this. It's on your medical history now. You've got this. Was your first response to that that you wanted to rebel against that decision, or were you quite compliant with, okay, this is what I've got?
Absolutely accepting, because I'd gone from 2014 through to 2017, 2018, experiencing the symptoms and then getting the diagnosis formally, and being told I would have to go on to medication that's given to people with epilepsy.
Right. Yep. Which I might add there's no specific medicine for epilepsy. They're not, they haven't actually designed a medication specifically for epilepsy because it's too complicated. So they use a lot of antiepileptic medications for so many different neurological things. Anyway. So were you on mood stabilizer ones or?
Nothing. Oh no, he gave me that. I was on, at that point, I was on vitamin B12 because I discovered, yes, the sheath around the nerves, B12 rich. And I was on.
I'll just say that's called the myelin sheath.
That's
MYELIN, the myelin sheath. Yeah, very important.
Thank you, Lainey. Yes, it is. And so I was taking some things before I went to the doctor, and it wasn't working. Dr. Hewitson, my GP, he suggested craniosacral therapy because he knew I wasn't going to take any medication that was for epilepsy and when I read up about those drugs, it was like, oh my God, this is shocking, all the side effects I was reading. There's no way. Right. And I was just determined. I'm determined. I'm I'm a bit of a tough nut. And I'm going to crack this. I'm going to get this, it's not going to get me. I'm going to be free. I just was determined.
Amazing. So from the moment that you got your prognosis, I guess, like this is what you're going to need to take to fix this, in the Western approach, you were just like, not a chance. I'm going to go this way and have a look at what my other options are.
Absolutely.
From that moment. Very brave. It's a very brave move. Did you have the support of family and friends? Because that's also because they're not living it, but what they see is, we just want you to get better. We love you. Yeah. Did you have their support?
Interestingly enough, I'm very stoic. I keep everything like that. That's my stuff, right? And yes, I've got two older brothers. I did tell them. I told my niece. I don't have any kids myself, but I did share a little. But it was like, no, this is my issue, and I just don't do that. I don't go and cry on somebody's shoulder about, this is happening, and da, da, da. I just will do everything I can to resolve whatever issue is going on in my life. I'll do it myself, and I'm very self-reliant. So that's my nature. Not everybody, has that. I understand, but
so what
that's
else?
My approach.
Which is amazing, because I think that you need to have a part of that if you're going to take on, if you're going to approach your health in a holistic way. You kind of have to have a resilience outside of just listening to what other people say. Your body, your choice, which is, we're not going to get into that, but that's a huge thing in the news at the moment. My body, my choice.
Yes, it is.
so
I'm fully vaccinated, by the way. I don't have any problem with vaccination.
okay. Oh, wasn't even going to go there, but thank you for I won't edit that out. But
yes, yeah. I don't want anyone to think that I am not in any way dismissing I want all the information, please.
Correct.
Everything I can get so
Right.
that I can make an informed choice.
All right. So so we'll go back then just a tiny little step. So you've started the B12. What else did you look into?
Zinc is very good for feeding the nervous system. So I was pretty much just on the B12 and a good multi-B from what's that Bioceuticals company, a really good company. Whatever I could do, that's what I started. And then once I saw Dr. Hewitson, and he suggested, well, that's good, and why don't you start on to glycinate hang on a minute.
Glutathione, would that be it? No.
Magnesium.
Oh,
he was very keen on the magnesium glycinate.
Hang on, so start that again, like sitting down, and I'll edit that walking out bit. So
Sorry.
So hold that up again. What else did he recommend?
He was very keen, not this particular brand, but this is a great brand. I was getting it from the chemist, here they make it up, in Byron. It was glycinate, which is very easily absorbed and is important for our nerve function. All the things that are important for our nerve function, that's what I was looking at. But he wanted me to go and try craniosacral therapy, because even though it came back from all the scans, there was no impingement on my nerves. Even the neurologist said, well, it may not appear. So, yeah, okay, I'll go down that track. So I was going once a week for about 2 months. And it was great. I loved it, but it had absolutely no effect on the symptoms.
Right,
but
okay.
It definitely had effects in other ways, because it was really good treatment to do.
Tell me something. Did you ever do a hair analysis test to check for the heavy metals in your system? Was that ever?
No, I did one of those many years ago down in Ballina here. There's the guy that does all that. I can't even remember what came up now, but yeah, I've done the hair testing, but didn't do it for this, because I felt like the symptoms were so clear. I knew what was going on. Yes, it could have been, hey, we've probably all got heavy metals in our bodies, But I was more interested at that stage with the doctor going forward into the solution rather than keep going into the diagnostics side of it,
Beautiful.
So that's where I was at that time.
The perfect rounded integrative medicine approach, really. The integrative medicine, I'm assuming by the sounds of it that's the kind of doctor he is. He integrates.
He is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Holistic integrative medicine, which is really the way of the future.
Yeah. I would have tried acupuncture, I would have tried the hair analysis, but I needed to feed my nervous system.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it was. And that's, what ultimately, after I, spent thousands of dollars going to the craniosacral guy, I said, that's not working, and went back, and we sat in his office, the doctor's office, and we Googled together. And we came up with, yes, keep taking that zinc, keep taking the be keep taking the magnesium glycinate, and I then, because I'd heard of a mushroom called lion's mane, so I asked, what do you reckon? You know, go on the lion's mane, and I started to look at herbal as well. And I asked him, well, what do you reckon? Maybe the St. John's wort tincture.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And so once I got onto the lion's mane, it's like the whole thing, it's like it knits together for me. And I've been now for a good couple of years, and definitely the last 18 months, I'm symptom free.
Amazing.
And and some days I don't take anything. I'll go a week now without a thing, because I think that's good for you, you know, and, you know, I might just take the lion's mane, or I might just, and then it's like I said, it just knits together what I'm taking.
Wonderful, Gail. I've been working with herbs for a very long time, and I believe that they tell us when we need to take it. So it's more intuitive when you start to be symptom-free, and when you start to, you know, be on a roll with your health, you instinctively and intuitively know what you need to not take for a while, and what when it calls you again. And, you know,
Absolutely agree with you with that. That's
yeah,
how it's like, oh, my hand will almost, and it's like, I want that, you know. Our
yeah,
bodies know. And one thing that I have to acknowledge as well, over 33 years ago, I started a meditation practice.
right.
And that was very helpful for me, because when you go into that state, it's a theta or alpha state that you're in. You're very receptive, and you're very relaxed. And when I'd get an attack, and that was possibly why it took me so long to get to, you know, where I got to and suffered or whatever, I'd sit, I'd just immediately stop, and I would focus right in, and the symptom would go through mind control. And that's got to be acknowledged in what I went through as well. You know, that was part of the management for what I was experiencing.
That's great, Gail. Thanks for sharing that, because everything's important. And that kind of leads me to this, one of the, you know, a question that I have to ask everyone is, what other lifestyle changes besides just taking supplements have you attempted? Diet, you know, and meditation, you've just said, exercise routines, like what has there been anything else that you found?
Nothing else, because I've lived a very healthy lifestyle, diet-wise, exercise.
Yeah. I
live in, you know, by the beach. I was on the beach this morning walking, and I swim, and like I say, well, I'm retired now, and that's definitely a bonus for me, because I can completely 100% relax, you know, when I need to go to sleep. Sleep great. Is fantastic.
It's necessary. Hang on 2 seconds. Hang on. Did you shout anything else the way? Yes, okay, fuck. That's all right. I should have locked the door. I'll be down in a sec. I don't know where we were. You've lived a healthy life.
So I didn't change anything. I added. I just, you know, like I said, I fed my nervous system.
Yeah, beautiful. And because you were healthy and everything like that. Brilliant.
Yeah, but, you know, there's certain compounds, ingredients, elements that are required.
Yeah. Was sex one of them? Shouldn't ask, but is
No,
that,
no. I'm sorry.
that didn't help? That wasn't one of the medicinal life changes
I'm
that you.
actually sex free.
Maybe that's what's helping. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, none of that business.
None of the business. Well, it's fascinating to hear people's stories and the way, and this is why I'm so passionate about. Did you hear that?
No, I can't. I can't hear a thing.
Okay.
Can't
And this
hear a
is
thing.
okay. And this is why I'm so passionate about doing this podcast, is to give people some food for thought and little seeds of wisdom that they may not have thought about when they're dealing with particular
Yeah,
things, So if there's
that's
someone
why I wanted
listening,
to participate. Like,
oh, you're
'cause I don't
amazing.
know. I don't know anybody else. I've never met anybody else that has this. But you go online and you do see it's something that affects women, older women. I'm 66 now, and it's something that affects older women more than men. And it's always on the one side of the body.
And that's potentially, if we're just stabbing in the dark here, comes back to what we started talking about the trauma, because older women come from a different generation, and there's a lot of trauma in, I guess, your generation of women that was unprocessed, untapped. It wasn't allowed to be spoken about, pushed down,
Yes.
and so is experienced in the physical form. And so I'm not surprised that it does happen in older.
It's part of my conditioning, like I said, to be stoic about whatever it is I'm going through, hard things. I just keep it to myself and soldier on.
Soldier on. So I guess in sort of wrapping this up, there may be people listening that maybe don't have the diagnosis that you have, but have nerve and brain issues, that are experiencing similar things but haven't yet got your diagnosis. It doesn't really matter either way, because the symptom's a symptom. Is there some parting word or a tip that you could give to someone about, loving their diagnosis and what that will look like?
Please don't give up. Definitely don't give up. And we have a body. We are here, for as long as we're here, and there's no guarantees. We may contract something that is going to affect our life and our functioning. That's, none of us know what's going to happen. And do everything you can to live, if you've got pain, to live with that and to find a natural solution. Do not accept what the allopathic or the medical profession generally will tell us. You must do this, you must take this, and you'll have to have this operation. And they're very well Eastern, medicine or naturopathic solutions to conditions.
And my favorite mantra in this whole health game is make sure you're in the driver's seat.
Yes.
Make sure you're in the driver's seat.
The other thing is, make sure you're with a doctor who listens to you and respects what you're saying.
Beautiful.
Respects you, because too many doctors just dismiss us.
Yes. And we're not bashing doctors. We're just saying there are doctors out there.
But I've experienced that many times. The neurologist, when I went back to him the second time and I told him, I've had this, amazing result from this and this and that. I didn't even get to finish. It was like, oh, well, if that works for you. I was in there like for 2 minutes, literally, not interested to know. So it's such a great shame that, it's like that.
It is. There's many different kinds of doctors, and sadly, it comes down to also that they know their way and they're not really, the blinkers are on. So yeah, as you say, beautiful parting words. Find a doctor that will listen to you, that will actually, take you on the journey you want to go down, and never give up. Beautiful, excellent parting words, Gail. So I guess you love your
Okay.
diagnosis, don't you? Because you've kicked it in
Well,
the dick.
I love my St. John's wort tincture
That's good.
and all the other stuff. I certainly love that.
See, people would listen to that and say St. John's wort, isn't that for depression? So why was that one particularly? Why you?
Oh, well, I'm saying that I could have said, the B12, or I do think the tincture, I feel like I respond well to tinctures.
Yeah, beautiful.
I always have. I don't know, just, I'm absorbing it readily or something. And the same with the lion's mane, herbs and fungus and, the earth, anything of the earth, give it to me, please, before you give me those pills.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Gail. I will, if there's any links that you want people to go to, you just send them to me and I'll put them up.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, I'll time out professionally and then I'll edit it and then just hang on. All right. So I'll just say that again. Thanks a lot, Gail.
And will I be able to go to your podcast at some, it's live, or can you send me the link and because I'm interested, I'll hear what other people are talking about.
Absolutely. I'd love you to be part of that listening. So thank you again. And thanks for sharing, your story. It's quite amazing, really. And congratulations.
Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.